Good afternoon. My name is Robert Gervais, and today we're going to spend some time talking about modern mobility solutions. So let's get presentation going. So our talking points today are going to be the importance of a needs analysis. After we talk about that, we're going to talk about a brief sort of history of the mobility industry, types of vehicle conversions, different mobility equipment, and then we'll touch briefly upon some home modifications. Needs analysis. The reason that I start here before we even talk about the different types of mobility products is it's important to understand what you actually need. Anybody can go out and buy all kinds of converted vehicles, scooters, lifts. You may or may not need, or you may not need now, or you might need later. So this is why a needs analysis is so important. ALS, we know, is a nervous system disease that weakens the muscles and impacts physical functions. Because of that, symptoms develop differently for every patient, and it's a continual change for each individual. So again, what I'm really emphasizing here is how important it is to do a needs analysis for the individual, whether that be every month, every 6 months, every year, so that you can look into what's going to happen, what could happen, and prepare for it. Maybe not provide solutions now, provide those solutions later. But again, needs analysis on a consistent basis. So with that said, let's talk about the history of mobility. Believe it or not, there is a, what we would quote unquote, father of the mobility world, and his name is Ralph Braun. I'm sure many of you have heard of the Braun Corporation or Braunability. Their big claim to fame is their wheelchair accessible vehicles. Well, Ralph Braun back in 1962 realized that he would not have use of his lower extremities. And he got really frustrated with people having to tote him back and forth, take him from wheelchair to wherever he needed to go. So he invented what is known today as the first three-wheel scooter. You can see in the picture here showing him utilizing, I mean, compared to what we have out there, obviously it's very archaic, but this was his way of having mobility and self-reliance. Later, as he got older, he realized that the scooter only had a certain amount of distance that it could get. So hence the first wheelchair accessible vehicle, he converted a milk truck to transport his scooter that he could actually drive. So this, by all means, is the beginning of the mobility world. The mobility industry. As you can see here, these, we start with a black and white picture into color, showing the evolution of the wheelchair accessible vehicle. Full-size vehicle with a lift, minivan with a lift, and then the modern, what we have today, which is the wheelchair accessible vehicle that has been converted drop, floor, and ramp. So let's break the vehicle conversion apart. Basically what happens is the mobility company, regardless if it's Braun, VMI, or Eldorado, they take the minivan and they drop the floor 10 to 14 inches. What the 10 to 14 inches does is it provides space for whoever is in the wheelchair to not just passenger, but also enter and exit in their chair. There are two types of ramp. There's the in-floor ramp and the fold-out ramp. Pros and cons to both. This is something to where an in-floor ramp is obviously very popular with families, simply because you don't have the fold-out ramp as a wall by the sliding door. Fold-out ramps are a little more reliable when it comes to power outages on the vehicle. And this, I could give many pros and cons. We can go on for hours with this. Really, again, doing that needs analysis, and I'm going to echo that often, will help you determine whether you need an in-floor or a fold-out ramp. The two actual conversions are a side entry conversion and a rear entry conversion. Again, both have pros and cons. Obviously, a side entry is a lot easier for somebody who is driving the vehicle, whereas the rear entry, folks like it simply because you can park almost anywhere and be able to get your loved one who's in the wheelchair out of the vehicle with some ease in the event somebody parks right next to you. So again, pros and cons. I'm going to go right back to the needs analysis. 10 to 14-inch drop. Again, as you can see, this picture here shows the amount of room that is inside a vehicle once it's been converted. And the ability for whoever's in the wheelchair to actually drive, be a passenger up front or passenger in this center area. It's a nice, it's very nice that you have those options. This is good as far as, if somebody wishes to provide care, they could be in the center section and the care can be given from the back. Or if it's a rear entry conversion, the loved one in the wheelchair could be in the center, and then there's 2 side seats to provide care for the loved one. The extra passenger compartment height is, again, so that the individual can ride from the chair. Wheelchair securements. I put this in very bold here. I put all wheelchairs or scooters must be secured. It's very, very important that you understand that has to happen. You can't just put a chair inside a vehicle and expect it to stay put in the event of braking or an actual accident. These pictures are showing 2 different types of securement, both the strap securement and the what we call Q-straight lock, which is the lock that's actually mounted to the bottom of the vehicle, the floor of the vehicle, and then a bracket is put on the chair. So again, using the needs analysis, you can decide which is better for the care of your loved one. These are the straps. I put this in here only to bring up a point. If you are being strapped down, the chair is being strapped down, make sure that you're being strapped at 4 points of securement, not 2, not 3, not 1, but 4 individual strains, 2 in the front, 2 in the back. This is also important if you, in the event, don't have a wheelchair accessible vehicle and you're relying on one of our rideshare companies to transport your loved one. You can make sure that they are doing this to make sure the safety of your loved one. So this is very, very important that you take note of this. So let's talk about some of the mobility equipment. And keep in mind, based on your needs analysis, depending on whether you need a wheelchair accessible van or one of these lifts, it's very important, and I keep echoing it, needs analysis. So when you look at these, this is an interesting approach to actually transporting your scooter or your wheelchair. We have a lift here that lifts the scooter up and actually swings it into the vehicle. For your larger scooters or wheelchairs that require more lifting weight, this is we have a lift here that's on the back of the vehicle. And then, of course, if you have a truck or a sport utility, we have boom lifts that can actually lift the chair up into the back of a truck, providing more room into the vehicle. What's a nice option using this type of solution is the fact that there's not a lot of modifications to the vehicle itself. And this is important for resale value if you wish to have a different vehicle down the road, or in the event you don't need the equipment anymore. These are some types of platform lifts. This is specific to more commercial transport or full-size vehicles, or even motorhomes for that matter. Transfer seats. Transfer seats are also very nice. It allows a solution to have somebody transferred into the seat and then have the seat do all the work. For example, we see this couple, she has been transferred into the seat, and now that seat will actually pick her up and bring her into the vehicle. So again, a very nice solution, providing the needs analysis says this is what will work. Hand controls. This is something that, again, very specific to the user. There's many different varieties. There's manual, electronic, but again, hand controls, you need to ensure that you go through proper hand control training, certification, and then the certification will determine what kind of hand controls that are necessary. But keep in mind, and I say it again, needs analysis is very, very important to determine if hand controls are something that not only would work now, but would work 6 months from now, a year from now, and then, into the future. Home modifications. Again, there's lots of home modifications. I'm going to be specific to the mobility side of it. and that would be either a platform lift or an elevator. These are very, very common in mobile homes or homes that have steps in the front of the house. Obviously, you can use a ramp, but when the ramp has to be is too long and can't be indoors, well then an elevator like this would, or a platform lift would definitely be a better solution. Stair lifts, again, stair lifts are something that it's specific to the home, whether it be a two-level home or a stair lift out to say a second deck to a home. This is something to where it's very, very specific uh, to the person using it. So make sure you do your needs analysis. Chair lifts, they come in straight rail, curve rail. They can go inside the home, outside the home, but this is a really nice solution to where your loved one can still have access to the entire home. With that said, all of these products that I have shared with you today, you want to make sure that whoever is providing it, that they are what we call part of NMEDA. NMEDA is the National Mobility Equipment Dealership Association. These folks go through yearly audits and inspections to ensure that they are providing the highest level of quality and safety with the equipment that they're installing. You want to look for the QAP sticker, that's the Quality Assurance Program, to ensure that this dealer is giving you the best and the safest quality of mobility equipment. So definitely look for this. We make no recommendations on who you visit. Pick the mobility dealer that you bond with, that you click with, that understands your needs, that you feel comfortable with, but make sure that they have the quality assurance program. I want to thank you for your time today. I hope the information was informative. Please reach out to the ALS Association of Orange County if you have any questions, and they will answer them for you. Thank you again, and have a great afternoon.